This is the Shaver Prep Football Podcast, episode 13, presented by Aquarius Home Services and brought to you by True Stone Financial and Culver's. And I'll name our Culver's Player of the Week in just a few minutes. But how about this? Armstrong running back Kevon Johnson, an 82-yard TD run, one of many big plays Wednesday night as the undefeated Falcons beat Andover in double overtime, 57-56. It was a track meet between two explosive teams to close out the regular season. And Kevon is one of our Talk North Walk the Talk winners this week with a 5-touchdown performance, 34 carries, 309 yards in that game. He finishes the regular season with 1,667 yards and 29 touchdowns to lead the state. Also, we honor Greg Kennedy of Fillmore Central. Last week, Kennedy returned the opening kickoff 78 yards for a touchdown. On their first offensive play of the game, he caught an 80-yard touchdown pass. And Greg also had 2 interceptions for touchdowns, covering 84 and 82 yards in a 39-8 win over Kenyon Wanamingo. Amazing. In Class 6A last Thursday afternoon, number 1 ranked Maple Grove rallied to beat Minnetonka 31-21 to finish 8-0 as the only undefeated team in Class 6A. And that set the stage for our exclusive Talk North Class 6A playoff selection show, which ran live last Friday morning, where we announced the playoff brackets. And let's continue that conversation. Joining me in studio is Nick Johnson, head football coach of Egan, Brad Beskow, the head coach of Forest Lake, Adam Spurl, the first-year head coach of Maple Grove, and Ray Benton, head coach of Shakopee. The Class 6A playoff bracket was set last Friday morning on a live show right here on Talk North, and I'm lucky enough to have the 4 coaches who joined me last Friday to join me once again just to preview the games which start on Friday of this week. Nick Johnson, the head football coach at Egan, Brad Beskow, the head football coach at Forest Lake, Adam Spurl from Maple Grove, the Crimson go 8-0 on the regular season, and Ray Benton, the head football coach at Shakopee. I'll start with you, Adam, because the conversation is not just about your game with Burnsville, but it's about the 4 seed that sits there waiting for you potentially, and that's Eden Prairie. Talk a little bit about your mindset this week as you get ready for your game Friday, and obviously not looking ahead, but you know that that's sitting out there.
Yeah, we've already went through it in the fact that the last couple weeks, our kids had Minnetonka on their mind. And so we had to do a good job working through Coon Rapids and St. Michael and trying not to forecast ahead to Minnetonka. And so we'll have that same test this week with preparing for Burnsville and keeping EP off to the side for a week. But obviously it's coming. So
yeah, it's a tough bracket, regardless of who you play. But unfortunately, it feels like you drew the short straw when you're playing in Eden Prairie and potentially in the second round. Nick's Egan team finished 5-3. They open up against Osseo in the first round of the playoffs. You're a 2 seed for the first time in 6A. Obviously, that feels good. Your team has played well. Just your thoughts heading into Friday night.
Yeah, I think it's an honor to be a 2 seed, and I think it's great that we've earned this. Play an Osseo team, play them, and then we'll see what happens if we can win that game. We'll might have a date looming with Edina, who we played week 1. That is a very, very, very good football team.
Edina potentially is there on the opposite side of the 8-team bracket, sitting there at the 3 seed.
Yep.
Okay, Ray, I know that health is something that you and I've talked about during the course of the regular season. You told me near the end of the regular season, this is the healthiest my team's ever been. Yes. Are you still that way as you head into your game with Eastview?
Yes, we are. When you look at we've lost 2 starters. One, we lost Carson Turner.
Yep, early in the year.
And then we just lost an outside linebacker 2 weeks ago. But depth is important. Numbers are important, like you talked about. But this is the healthiest that we've hit the playoffs in the last 3 years. This is the healthiest that we've been.
Forest Lake gets Buffalo to open the playoffs. Buffalo is a 5-3 team. Yes, they won their 5 games in the Maroon Division, which allows relief for 6A teams, but they're still a pretty decent football team. Interesting matchup for you guys.
Yeah, there's something to be said about winning games, no matter
Right.
who you're playing, and learning how to win and knowing how to win. Playing a team that's won 5 games versus playing a team that hasn't won many games, that can be different. So there's challenges all over no matter who you play. You're excited to just look at your own players and what we can do to get better and how we can use this one and try to get through this one and keep moving forward and just keep playing with each other and take our practices and our weight rooms and our film and all that stuff too and keep working with these guys.
Parity is here in Class 6A football. I don't think there's any question about that. Just to recap the 5-4 matchups in 6A, Woodbury against EP, Champlin Park against Eastridge, Rochester Mayo against Centennial, Prior Lake against Farmington. Historically, the 5-4 matchups are usually the best matchups in the first round of the 6A playoffs. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Good luck to you the rest of the way. Should be fun. Class 6A football is loaded with talent. To be honest, I'm a trust guy. If I'm going to let you into my home to repair or upgrade something, I'm going to trust you do it right and provide great customer service for peace of mind. Well, Aquarius Home Services was all that and more. They installed a new Connecticut water system in my home, great drinking water from my faucet, by the way, and an air purification system, so no more dust in my home. It's been a game changer. Quality, service, trustworthy people. Aquarius Home Services, earning the right to be recommended. One last note from that Minnetonka game, the school inducted Dave Nelson, longtime successful coach, into the Wall of Fame. Dave was honored before the game. He joins Minnetonka greats Benny Jopru, Keith Nord, and Bo Allen. A big congrats to my friend, Dave Nelson. More football playoff talk in a minute, but this time of season reminds me of how sports seasons blend together. The playoffs are starting in Minnesota in football, but also the NHL season is underway. And that means the captain of the New York Islanders is back on the ice, Anders Lee, and he was a darn good Minnesota prep quarterback back in the day. Anders Lee is here. He is, of course, with the New York Islanders and has been in the NHL for a while. But before all that, he was a high school football star at Edina High School. And I say that because you were the Gatorade Player of the Year your senior year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy to win that award.
Yeah.
But that was a special senior year, but a special couple of years being able to play football at Edina. That was it was so much fun. We had a couple great teams. You know, my junior year we went on a run. It was just a ton of fun, and what kind of high school sports was all about. You know, the Friday Night Lights, all that stuff. We had a great time.
So 2007, 2008 is when Anders played quarterback at Edina. You also played hockey, obviously, and you've made that your career. But you were a 3-sport athlete in high school. So, you know, we hear this all the time about 3-sport athletes and how important that is, and not just to being recruited for college, but, you know, Joe Mauer, the perfect example. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, great 3-sport athlete. How important was it for you to be a 3-sport guy, and how do you think that's helped you in your career?
I loved playing sports, and I loved the changing of the seasons. And you know, you roll out a hockey season and you come into the summer or the spring and you're playing baseball and you're outside and you're with the guys, and it's such a different game. You know, you're just chatting the whole time, and then you got to go to the plate and focus in, or go to the field and focus in. So you're learning these different, you know, athletic attributes from each sport that I think just, you know, rounds you out as an overall athlete. And same with football and the hockey. I think, you know, I got to play, fortunately, the quarterback position, so the ball's in my hand and the play's in front of me.
Right.
And, you know, you see is what you get. And then hockey's kind of everything involved. There's the game behind you, it's in front of you, it's physical. So I think I was able to learn, not necessarily trying to take things from each sport at the time, you're just a kid playing. But looking back on it, there's things that I absolutely benefited from playing all 3 sports.
Did you ever entertain the fact that maybe I'll play college football?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was a point where I
So
wanted to.
there was a possibility that you may have given up hockey to play football.
There was a quick second there, kind of my junior, senior year when, and back then, and I don't know how it totally works now, but like the rivals camps in football, and
Yep.
you go and get rated and stuff, and you go to these camps and you kind of show off as a quarterback, you show off your arm, stuff like that. I never did those. So like my recruiting was slow on the football end because I hadn't gotten in front of, schools and recruiters. So
Did you do that intentionally, or you just
No,
weren't interested in doing that?
yeah, I didn't know if it was, hockey was kind of at that point in my life my dream, and it always was and ended up being that way. But for a quick second, when the football started to turn a little bit and my film got out there a little bit and kind of got some people started, I guess, taking notice, and some schools started calling.
Yeah.
That was, football was definitely a thought for a little bit.
But never enough to walk away from hockey and what it meant to you.
No, unfortunately, I think, going back to that time period and getting recruited, the opportunities and the schools that recruited me from hockey were better opportunities for me overall. The NHL was a dream and a long ways away. College was, a big deal for me and my family. And once Notre Dame called for hockey, that kind of shut everything else off.
So you go to Notre Dame to play hockey. Did you go to football games at Notre Dame?
Oh,
What
yeah.
was that like?
It was great. I mean, I loved it. With the way it all works is, we were able to go to 3, 4, 5 home football games every year before the hockey season started. So we would, have a morning workout. Our coaches knew what we were going to the rest of the day, so they put us through a good ringer, and then we'd go enjoy ourselves at the games. And where our tickets were, we were front row in the end zone, and always had a blast. And at that time, I had a pretty good understanding, could read the defense a little bit and
Sure.
kind of talk to the boys about what they're seeing. Not as well as those guys on the field, obviously, but was able to see it down at a high level. And really, we just had a blast going to those games.
So you end up going to the NHL, and it wasn't necessarily like right away, right? You kind of had to put your time in. Describe that point in your life, because you were up, then you went down a few times.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that maybe this isn't going to work?
Oh, yeah. I think, and that was a big reason. So I signed after my junior year.
Yep.
And I did that intentionally. New York had called after my sophomore year, and, had I left at that time, I knew I'd be in the minors had I left. But I would have been so far away from graduating.
Yeah.
That I decided to go back for my junior year, take some extra credits, put myself in a position to, have to come back in the summer for a couple years if I signed after junior
In order
year.
to finish your degree.
Yes. So I was able to do that, get super far ahead. And then so when I left after my junior year, that extra year of, kind of preparing mentally was really good for me. I was ready at that point to take the next step. And then on the other side of it, I was so close to graduating that it made the most sense to start that next chapter. And in the hockey world, I was 22-year-old signing my first contract. And now there's no rush to all this. It all worked out, but you got to start the clock at some point a little bit.
So you went back. Did you finish your degree?
Yep, went back a couple summers.
Take a couple summers. What's your degree in?
Business management.
Okay.
Yep. And really enjoyed that. It actually ended up applying quite a bit to just, the role I'm in now. Could probably go back and take some classes, but, just working with people and understanding how things work and getting the most out of everyone.
So you've had a very, very nice NHL career. If I got this right, you're the captain, right? What does that mean to you to be the captain of the New York Islanders?
It's a huge honor.
Yeah.
It really is. To play for the New York Islanders as long as I have, but the organization and the tradition and the history that this program and organization has it's a special one, and it's a huge honor to me to be able to not only put on that jersey, but to represent it in this way, and to be able to work with the guys that we have in the room. Got a great room, guys that care, guys that put everything on the line, and to be able to do that with them night in and night out is very special.
So there's a quarterback at Edina right now by the name of Mason West. You probably know who he is, who is kind of on the same path. as you.
Yep.
He loves hockey. He's very good. They won a state title. He's got the frame to be a Division I quarterback, and he's being recruited. What would your advice be to a Mason West as he begins the journey, not necessarily a football journey, but a sports journey that may take him to where he wants to go?
Yeah, it's been fun hearing about him.
Okay. Have not met him, I take
No,
it.
I haven't met him yet.
Okay.
But it's been really nice to see, a multi-sport athlete excel in this way. And, my advice for him is just to enjoy it. He's gonna have pressures from both sides of, the recruiting side. He's gonna have pressures on opportunities and thoughts on those dreams. And take your time, enjoy it, and work at both of them. I did the same. I tried to become a better quarterback in those 2 quick years, and had obviously been working on my hockey game leading up to that point. But there's no rush to some of these things, and the right opportunity will be there for him. So very much wish him all the best. It's a great problem that he has to have to figure out. But I'll be tuning in this fall and this winter for him and the teams that he's on. So, but yeah, enjoy it, ride it out, and something great's going to happen.
When Anders played quarterback for Edina, Kim Nelson was the head coach. Kim brought in basically the shotgun offense, and now we see it all over the place in the Metro. You were telling me you maybe were under center twice your entire career.
Entire 2 years.
Why even those 2 times? Do you remember why? Were you at the goal line or something?
Yeah, it was at the goal line.
Yeah.
It was at the goal line, and we called it Rhino, and we had, all the big boys behind me, and we just tried to
push you.
Yeah, a little bit for sure. But honestly, it was unbelievable. It was so much fun to play, to be able to stand back there. You're in shotgun, and you're just flinging the ball around. It was a good time.
You were on the Care 11 All-Metro football team your senior year. Zach Budish was on that team as well. You guys were teammates. And of course, Zach went on to play hockey as well. How special a time is that for you, that when you look back? Because when I talk to former NFL players, and you would think, Matt Burke's a perfect example, wins a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. Do you know what he remembers the most? That the cherished moment of football for him was high school football. Can you say the same thing? That was a time in your life that resonates still with you today?
Absolutely, I can relate to that very much so. In the sense that you're just kids.
Yeah.
And you're just playing for the joy of playing the game. You're with your buddies that you've grown up with. You've played youth football with them or youth hockey all the way growing up, and you're representing your town, your school.
Yep.
You get to show up on Monday. You get to wear your jersey on Friday. It's all the little things, and it's not, you go on to these other parts of your career, whether it is college or professional, and it can turn into a job at times for sure. But the authenticity of the high school sports is, I think, extremely special. And I definitely have some memories of, our junior year when we won the conference, and we had no expectation of that. And going out on homecoming night and beating Wayzata, and those they were a powerhouse then.
Yeah.
And so that was a special moment for, our team and our town to go and do something that no one really expected.
Hard for me to believe that you're 34 now.
Yeah.
Gosh,
yeah,
I've known
I
you
know.
for. How much longer do you want to play? Have you kind of set in your mind?
Yeah, I've got a number in my mind,
You
and
do?
that's a few years down the road.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm still loving it. My body feels good. I still have the drive, still enjoying it. And, yeah, I want to ride this thing out as long as I can. Unfortunately, there will be a time when those pages turn, but I'm hoping that's in a little bit of the future.
When that happens, will you move back to Minnesota and
I'd
make
love
Minnesota
to.
your home?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
My wife's from Chicago. She's from a big family there, so she's got some pull there. So trying to show her the ropes as much as I can. She loves it here in Minnesota.
You guys come back in the summer.
Yeah, we're back in the summer. So we get a great, 2.5, 3 months here in the summer. It's a great place for our kids and our family to get together and relax. And I have a wonderful network of people around me to help me train and get ready for the next year.
Last question. What's the best advice you ever got from a coach or a mentor that has stuck with you all this time?
Well, just jumping off the page here right away, Coach Kim Nelson used to always tell me, and at the quarterback position, you get the ball every play.
Yep.
Ball's in your hands, and not every play is a good play. You're going to have a bad throw, interception, whatever it is. And he always told me. And I was, very competitive and hard on myself, and and so he'd always tell me just the next play. And that applies to me in hockey all the time. You go out, you have a bad shift, you're stuck in the D zone, you have a bad turnover, or you're on the ice for a goal, it's the next shift. And how can you just continue on throughout the game with your mind in the right spot? And I've definitely taken that with me quite a ways.
It's kind of like that be in the moment mentality. You have to be in the moment, because what happened here is over and done, and you can't do anything about it.
No, and you'd love to. You'd love to go. Trust me, there's a lot of plays right now I'd love to go change, but you just got, that ability to find it in that next shift. You might be able to go and get it right back. So
it's great to see you. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Oh, Randy, pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. A friend heard me talking about True Stone Financial on this podcast the other day, and she says she sees True Stone sponsoring prep sports and academics and the arts. I do too. And I know the people at True Stone, and they are trying to make an impact in the community, and it's important to them. As a neighborhood credit union, they generously support our schools, our students, and our families. True Stone members and employees are part of those communities, so giving back is in their nature. True Stone has a vision to deliver exceptional financial experiences, but they're also more than that. They're part of our neighborhood, and they're committed to making our communities better places to live. Learn more about True Stone's community impact. Follow them on social media or visit truestone.org. Back to the Minnesota football playoffs. A reminder, the winners continue on. The losers are done. The first round of the sections begins on Tuesday night, October 22nd, with the section semifinals taking place on Saturday afternoon, October 26th. And our Talk North games of the week on Saturday in Class 5A, Section 2, Mankato East at Mankato West. The Scarlets beat East earlier this fall, 28-7. And how about this in Class 4A, Section 8? Rocori, the number 3 seed, at 2 seed and undefeated Princeton. That's a 1 o'clock start on Saturday. One team looking for redemption is Alexandria. The Cardinals finished the season with 2 tough losses against 2 great teams, Moorhead and defending state 5A champion Elk River. The Cardinals are led by 6'8" quarterback Chase Thompson. He's a football player now, but the clock is ticking on that. Well, Alexandria quarterback Chase Thompson will open the playoffs on Saturday, October 26th at home in the Section 8 semifinals. He joins me now. Tough loss Wednesday night at Elk River. Tough loss against Moorhead the game before that. So you end the regular season with 2 tough losses against 2 very, very good football teams. Chase, where's your team mentally, physically right now?
Yeah, obviously tough losses, like you said. Just we have a little bit of a break here, and we're just looking to regroup. Today we did a little bit of team bonding, met with a bunch of coaches, everything like that. Just, again, trying to regroup. That's our thing. So looking forward to Saturday, though.
Chase Thompson is 6'8", which I have to imagine is a great advantage when you play quarterback. First and foremost, you can see the field. There's nobody usually taller than you in front. Tell me some of the advantages as a 6'8" quarterback and maybe some of the disadvantages at 6'8".
Yeah, first disadvantage is when, running and a DB goes low. That's probably the scariest thing for me. Just, I'm a big target, so and guys they take cheap shots sometimes, but that's fine. That's football. And then probably just an advantage is, like you said, just being able to see the whole field, but also just, being able to throw kind of down over the line more or less for some of those over the middle throws. Yeah.
Did you kind of have to teach yourself that a little bit as you were growing as a quarterback because some quarterbacks tend to try to throw it up more. Did you have to kind of tell yourself, I gotta, throw it down a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. That just kind of came with practice, preparation, stuff like that. But also just with my arm strength, just sometimes you got to take a little bit off of it too,
Yeah.
because it's coming from a little bit of a different angle than some guys are used to.
For those that don't know, Alexandria is in the same section as Moorhead. So your loss to them on October 11th, I believe it was, a great game, 36
Hmm.
33. You got to get through them to get to the
Yes, sir.
state playoffs. What is that rivalry like between you and Moorhead?
Yeah, everybody in our town kind of hates them. I assume everybody in their town probably hates us. Just kind of we go there, they get a couple calls to go their way. They come here, we get a couple calls. So just kind of obviously at the end of the day, it's a football game. Sportsmanship, respect, everything is it's at the top of the list. But just you know, when we're older, these will probably be the games that we look back at the most for sure. So
So, for those that follow high school football, Chase is among the leaders in yardage in the state of Minnesota, 22 touchdown passes, again among the leaders. Um, but football is not your number one sport.
no.
You verbally committed to play basketball at Clemson. And my first question about that is, how the heck did you end up at Clemson? How did that happen?
Yeah, just when I was down there for my visit, it just seemed like all the little things just kept adding up. And then as I was leaving, it's a long ways from home, I'll be honest, but just like this thought in my head, I got to be back here. And then
Really?
that's what stuck in my head the most. So, yeah.
How did that start though? Because you just don't show up at Clemson. There must have obviously there was time between you and the school and conversations. How did they first find you and how did you become interested in them?
Yeah, for sure. First tournament, we were playing 15U. That's the summer after freshman year. One of their assistants, Coach McKay, came up to me and just said, "Hey, I'm putting you on the list." And that was first tournament in South Carolina. We're at some random high school. Just kind of that's how it started. Didn't hear from him for what, 2 years, and then just constant communication these past couple months, and then I just fell in love with the place, honestly.
So at 6'8", are you kind of a tweener between a power forward and a small forward? Where do you fit for college basketball?
Yeah, just, I feel like my versatility is probably my strongest thing. And I feel like I can play positionless basketball, really. So I feel like I fit in any situation, honestly.
Was there ever any time where you thought, I want to play D1 football? Here
It was,
I have this great frame. I'm
yeah.
sick. They don't come along that often,
Hmm.
quarterbacks of your size. Did you ever give it serious thought?
For a little bit, I was telling coaches for a while that I was 50-50 and,
Okay.
getting looks from Iowa State, the Gophers, North Dakota, UND as well. Just,
Were you truly 50-50 though, or you were just,
no,
yeah,
no, no. It was probably 80-20 maybe, but,
yeah.
just trying to see what I could get maybe,
Hmm.
if Iowa State or Minnesota was to offer, I would have definitely considered it for sure. But I've always been a basketball guy.
So how does one sport help you in the other? How does football help you in basketball? How does basketball help you in football?
Yeah, football just like you said, being able to see the floor, that's one of the main things. But then I'd say the best thing is physicality and just being able to just take a hit. That's probably the best thing. And then basketball helps me in football. Just I'd say just dishing out passes. That's very unselfish. And I've learned that as I've grown up. Just being able to see the floor again. That's another thing. Just finding people. Yeah.
Were you a physical basketball player before football, or did football teach you and help you be more physical?
Yeah, I was a little soft growing up, but just shooting a lot of threes. And now, as I've grown up, started playing football, definitely just a lot more double doubles as well. So,
Will you miss
yeah,
it when it's over? Because it could
yeah,
end here at any week here. How much will you miss it?
yeah, for sure. I'll definitely miss it. Just obviously, when I look back, I'm gonna watch the games next year, no matter what. But just probably won't miss the practices or the games as much. Just honestly, the memories with my friends. That's the main thing for me.
You won't miss the D-backs diving at your ankles anymore.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
All right, here
Or
we
waking
go.
up Saturday morning too. That's when
Yeah,
you're sore.
trying to
Ugh,
shake off the soreness. I gotcha.
yeah.
All right, here we go. I have 4 rapid fire questions for you. All right.
Sure.
At 6'8", what's the toughest article of clothing you can buy off the rack?
Pants. You can't find them. Can't
So
find them.
what do you do?
Get hand-me-downs from my brother or just wear shorts. That was my thing growing up. They used to keep me in the classroom after school. They wouldn't let me go outside during the winter to get picked up because I didn't have pants.
Do you have
Couldn't
pants
find them.
now? You have pants now, though, I hope.
I have one pair right now that fits me, and I wear them too much, and people make fun of me for wearing them.
Oh boy. All right. Favorite food. You know you shouldn't
Tacos.
eat it, but you do. What is it?
Tacos. Guaranteed.
Why? Why?
I don't know. Just street tacos when we go out to eat. Just my parents make tacos all the time. That's my go-to.
Favorite thing to do other than sports?
Probably fishing with my dad or my grandparents. Yeah. Lake
You're-
Minnewaska and Glenwood. That's a lot of walleye there. So yeah.
Are you a big outdoors person? Do you like to hunt too, or just fish?
My dad and my brother hunted a lot growing up, but just fishing really.
Do they have fishing near Clemson University?
They have one of the biggest lakes in South Carolina, I'm pretty sure, but I think they go out there a little bit. A couple of guys on the team go fishing quite a bit.
Where do you
Yeah.
see yourself in 10 years?
If I'm not playing basketball still, I'll probably be coaching. Yeah. That's where I
Coaching
see myself.
basketball? Coaching
Yeah,
basketball?
coaching basketball. Maybe football. We'll see.
Well, your options are open. You're very good
Sure.
at both. So I think you're
Thank
off
you.
to a good start. Hey, thanks for doing this. Good luck to you on Saturday in the first round of the playoffs for you guys. And maybe we'll see Alex back in the state tournament this
For
fall
sure.
before it's all said and
Thank
done.
you.
Thanks, Chase. We all have go-tos, right? Well, mine is Culver's, and all you have to do is look at my social media for proof. I eat at Culver's almost every day, and I love matching my order number to a star athlete. But more than anything else, I love the food. It's fresh, it's delicious, and it's comfort. I feel good after stopping at Culver's. The people are friendly, the food is made to order, and it just makes me happy, truly. So, if you're looking for your go-to, I have a recommendation. Culver's. Our Culver's Player of the Week is number 1, Zach Ryland of Kingsland, who set the school rushing record with his 17 carries, 366 yards, and 5 touchdowns in a 38-28 win over Houston last Wednesday night. Enjoy the Culver's on us. And Culver's is looking for your Player of the Week for next week. Email your prep Player of the Week, the name, jersey number, and high school to culversplayer@talknorth.com. The winner chosen gets either a free Butterburger or concrete mixer from Culver's. Well, Bob Madison is in charge of prep football at the State High School League, and here we are in October, and it's playoff week. There's 3 games this week, or 3 days, I should say, of playoffs this week. Tuesday, the 22nd. Friday, it's Class 6A. And then, of course, Saturday, we come back with section semifinals. Bob, how would you assess the way prep football went this year in Minnesota so far?
Well, I don't want to mention the weather, Randy, because we've got a few weeks left here outside.
Don't jinx it.
It has been seasonably beautiful for football, and it's kind of been indicative of our season, I would say. Great football at all classes, I would say. Officials have done a really nice job. I feel like our officiating numbers have come back a little bit. Flexibility around the schedules. I'm hearing from coaches that, a 6:00 game is maybe better than 7:00. I kind of like this Thursday night concept for some of our games. Feels a little bit different, but I think we're settling in, and just a great job by our coaches, our student athletes, and our communities across the state of Minnesota playing the sport of football.
Let me ask you more about the referees, because I felt like there were less Thursday night games. I felt like there were less Saturday games. It just started to feel more like Friday night lights again. Where is that coming from? Is that feeling correct? Are the numbers moving back up for referees?
Our numbers are back up a little bit, but we need to we need to take a look at the end of the season because I feel the same way you do, and I don't have an answer, a clear answer
Okay.
as to why it's starting to feel that way. But I think we have good momentum. We want to keep that going. I think we have some schools doing some really special things to get younger officials into the game. I also think we're providing environments that are more conducive to our officials, and we just need to keep that momentum going. But I'm not sure what that momentum is quite yet.
The state playoffs for Class 5A and below will look a little bit different this year, the seeding process. Explain that for the folks who are thinking that Section 1 will automatically play Section 5 and how it used to be set up. It is different this year.
It is. We really had a predictable model of certain sections matching up, which also made where they played much more geographically predictable. But what you're going to see, and this is the coaches have been asking for years, can we do a seeding model? Very difficult to do when you have 8 sections, all in really different parts of the state. So what our board agreed to is to go to a 1 through 4 south and a 1 through 4 north. And what that means is we will seed 1 through 4. You do not seed yourself. So 3 teams will be seeding each other, and you determine who the 1 seed is, and they'll play the 4 seed. The 2 seed will play the 3 seed. And then when we get to semis, you'll have the low seed plays the high seed from the north, a high seed plays the north, low seed from the south. So you're going to cross over. I like that concept. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. And, based on geographical differences, sometimes the north feels like they don't know the south well or vice versa. Now we get a chance to play that off once we get into US Bank Stadium. And it's worth a try, and let's see how it works.
Is this a 2-year cycle for this, or is it just a 1 year?
Well, right now, this is a policy. So this is in place for the foreseeable future unless we wanted to change it again. What I said is we need at least a 4 to 5 year chance to see how this works. You've watched 6A, really work a 32 team model with a very different bracket. And I would say that has really evolved. And you said it this morning on your podcast. I think this is our best bracket we've had, our best regular season schedule at the 6A. I'm hoping our other 6 classes, which includes 9-player, that's how we get to 7 classes, that the fruits of our labor will pay off here in the near future.
The Prep Bowl is a week earlier than normal. Normally it's during the week of Thanksgiving, but this year it is not. A, why is that? And B, do you anticipate there being any issues, or is it just a scheduling snafu for this year?
Yeah, it's we're going to take advantage of 5 in November. So Thanksgiving is actually late. We've done this before, Randy, where we've had a week between the semifinals and the Prep Bowl. I would say Thanksgiving weekend really has become a college football rivalry weekend. And we don't have a Vikings game at US Bank Stadium that weekend. So we're going to take advantage of that and play it prior to Thanksgiving. Let's focus on high school football here, and let's not get in the way of the Minnesota Vikings or vice versa with locker rooms and such. I know last year was very difficult. We had to move it off Thanksgiving weekend when the Vikings were playing on that Thanksgiving day. So we're going to stay in our own space and take advantage of what we have this year. I'd say it's also a potential next year as well, looking at the schedule.
Last question. In your opinion, how healthy is high school football in Minnesota?
It's pretty exciting. I'm talking to 2 schools about adding it for the upcoming season here at the varsity level. And we want to see that. Yet we know some communities that weren't able to finish their schedule this year. So our overall numbers, our participation numbers are really good, really healthy. We're hearing it and seeing it at the youth levels as well. But we're not going to rest on that, Randy. We got to take care of football and make sure we're doing the right thing. And once they get to the high school level, we know our coaches take care of it. There isn't a better group of coaches that are going to look after those students in the name of football. We've done a lot of work to get to where we are. We have, again, much like where our season's been, we have to keep that momentum going.
Bob Madison, always a pleasure. Thank you. It's go time. It's playoff time in Minnesota, and there's nothing better. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy.
In 3 weeks, Talk North will reveal exclusively the complete roster for this year's Minnesota High School Football All-Star Game to be played in December at US Bank Stadium. The game director, Dave Fritzie, will join me in studio to release the entire 88-player roster. That's the week of November 11th. Well, next week on this show, the quarterback of the Minnesota Gophers, Max Brosmer, will be my guest. Plus, I'll recap the football playoffs and look ahead to the section finals. For producer Alex Haugen and the great folks here at Talk North, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.